In this lesson, I will continue with the creation of a user's profile, and I will focus on protocols and log files. Let's start with protocols. Protocols are a set of guidelines or structured procedures used for promoting oral interactions among participants and researchers. Participants follow them while engaging in a specific task connected with the consultation process. They record a reason or more than one for their behavior. For example, why they have used such a dictionary, or which data they have searched for and why, and so on. They have advantages and disadvantages. It is obvious that their main advantage is that users' behavior can be examined without the distortion of faulty recalls or reinterpretations. But they also have disadvantages. 4 of them are relevant. 1. They typically involve a small number of users. 2. Users may forget the details of their behavior. 3. Completing a protocol after completing the consultation process is quite disruptive. And 4. Their execution has proved difficult and time-consuming. Let's go now with log files. Log files combine empirical data with introspection and deduction. Log files are records of a user interaction with a reference work. They are very useful in lexicographic use research because they provide real-world evidence of how people actually interact with reference works. This evidence should be interpreted by lexicographers, typically by drawing conclusions from the data that are based on their knowledge and experience. Log files have some advantages. Here is a list of their main advantages. 1. User behavior tracking. That means that log files record what users search for, how often, and in what sequence. Log files also show which words, phrases, or functions are most frequently used and which ones are hard to find. Its second advantage is that they clearly identify information needs. By analyzing failed searches or repeated lookups, researchers can detect gaps in the reference word coverage, for example, missing words, slant collocations. And they also highlight which meanings or grammatical points cause the most confusion. Its third advantage is that they improve reference words design because logs reveal navigation patterns, whether user scrolls, jumps between entries, or abandons searches. They also show how this can be improved and how the entry structure, the layout, the cross-referencing and search functions can be improved. Its fourth advantage is that they offer empirical validation. And empirical validation offers traditional lexicography how we can rely not only on corpus data, but also on what people have really searched for. Log files then complement this by showing what people want to know, not just what they produce. Another advantage of log files is that they can personalize. Logs can be used to develop adaptive reference works tailored to users' real needs. And logs also help teachers and linguists understand, for example, learners' difficulties in real time. In sum, protocols indicate what users think while looking up. And you must encourage the participant to keep talking without worrying about sounding perfect. Here is a list of questions you can use for capturing the cognitive process in real time. 1. What are you looking for when you open the dictionary just now? 2. Why did you choose that entry instead of the others? 3. What made you reject that meaning and move to another? 4. How do you decide when you are found the right meaning? 5. Can you explain what you understood from this sample sentence? 6. Did anything surprise or confuse you while searching? 7. Looking back, would you do anything differently next time? And now we go to log files. And regarding log files, which is a very practical method for working with them, I will give you a list of advices for working with them. First, collect raw log data. For example, collect the query, action, result, and device used. Second, clean and process. For example, by removing noise, filtering irrelevant data, and normalizing queries. 3. Add useful features that are derived from the log files. For example, frequency of lookups, time spent by entry, repeated queries, navigation paths, and search failures. In particular, I've used log files for compiling the Diccionario Digital del Español, DIDES, that you can search for in this link. For instance, log files were used for selecting the initial lemma list. This is how we did it. 1. We used log files for selecting the initial lemma list of DIDES at Oudbogen headquarters. There, some IT personnel monitored around 1 million daily log files of searches of Spanish words involving 10 dictionaries over a period of 2 months. Second, all the dictionaries selected were owned by the Danish company, and they were chosen simply because the company owned them. 3. The words and expressions searched for were transferred to 10 spreadsheets, 1 spreadsheet per dictionary, and then matched, with the aim of discovering which word or expression had been looked up in all or some of the 10 dictionaries. 4. The analysis of the log files allowed me to initiate the project with an initial lemma list of around 16,000 Spanish words and expressions. And these Spanish words and expressions were searched for in 8 of the 10 dictionaries under investigation. 5. They also allowed me to prepare a user profile that I had been using in the compilation of DIDES. I will refer to in a future lesson to this user profile. For finishing this lesson, and in summary, we can say that protocols try to understand the cognitive process used during consultation, and that log files can be used for collecting real lookups and draw conclusions. My proposal is that the interpretation of log files can be based on lexicographic knowledge, for example, on their capacity for introspection and making deductions, as illustrated with the method I used for selecting the initial lemma list of DIDES and its user profile.